pleasure to be here today, and even greater because I have the honor to represent today EthicHub. Before I start, I would like to ask you something. How many of you have heard about EthicHub before today? Raise your hands, please. OK, not that much. I was expecting that. We are mostly known as being the coffee guys. Yep, because of this. We always say that the proof of work of what we are doing, this is coffee, but it's much more than only coffee. This is the result of impact investment, and today I will explain you why. This girl next to me here, it's our head of community, it's Andrea. He's leading along with me growth at EthicHub. And well, I want to briefly introduce myself. 5 years ago, I was finishing my degree. I used to be like, let's say, Indiana Jones. I studied archaeology. And there are one concept in archaeology that it's called devolution. And it's something that I really like it. That means that you need to share with society what you are researching about, and you need to share with that knowledge. So my willing today is to share with you the knowledge that EthicHub has achieved during the past 5 years. So now, yeah, let's start. EthicHub was born in 2017. We are one of the oldest crypto protocols within the crypto ecosystem. And we were born with one idea that was to help smallholder farmers, the 25% of worldwide population who have no access to traditional banking system. The main problem for them is that because they have not created the scoring, they cannot borrow money from traditional institutions such as a bank. And because of that, they are, let's say, stuck in a circle of poverty. And when they can finally borrow money, they have to pay interest rates higher than 100%. And that's a completely abuse. And that's where EthicHub came. The main problem right now of this problem concerns about 1.2 billion people, only in LATAM, where we are working right now. We are talking about a need of $116 billion. But what we are doing at EthicHub is we have designed, or we have created a kind of lending and borrowing protocol. We call it Web 2.5 because we are allowing people to invest directly with credit cards and also with MetaMask. But the point here is that what we are doing actually is we are generating three different kinds of impact: social one, financial one, and the third one is environmental. And our main innovation is what we call the crowd collateral ecosystem, because those smallholder farmers have no access to traditional banks and they don't have credit scoring. We have created that kind of social collateral thanks to our community. And I will explain you how does it works. We can say there are two different kinds. Well, this is a kind of blended finance 2.0. I don't know if you have, what is that? That's a concept that was created by the ONU a few years ago, and was created in order to try to incentivize institutions to start investing on social and investment and sustainability projects. In this case, it's a kind of junior and senior debt, if we talk or we take it from a financial point of view, where some players are taking the higher risk, while other players are being able to invest directly with low risk. So in EthicHub, we have two different kinds of money flows. The first one works with stablecoins. That's the lending and borrowing protocol. Okay? So people, in this case lenders, can put that money within a liquid pool, and they can directly lend that money to borrowers, those smallholder farmers, those bank people. The second money flow works with ethics, or native token, and that's the crowd collateral system. They are two completely different and autonomous money flows, but they can interact. In a case where there are a default, and that means that the borrowers, the smallholder farmers, cannot repay the loan, the crowd collateral system is activated, it's liquidated into the market, and with that money, it's repaid, the principal plus the yield. That's our innovation. And thanks to that, we have been able in the last 2 years to lend more than $3 million, helping more than 450 financing more than 450 projects and helping more than 600 communities in more than 6 countries. Right now, we are in Mexico, we are in Honduras, we are in Ecuador, we are also working on Peru and Brazil. What makes us unique, if we want to, or we try to compare to traditional Web3 protocols, sorry, can you, yeah? It's okay for you? Sorry. What makes us unique regarding traditional lending or crowdfunding protocols or companies and also Web3 protocols, maybe like Goldfinch, is that we are lending money directly to those people who had no access to that kind of financial markets. We are, or we like to say that we are a kind of last mile solution, even we are not there yet, because we cannot lend money directly to the smallholder farmer, because in that case, we will assume a lot of risk. What we are doing is lending that money to cooperative. If we take a look to our competitors, that's what makes EthicHub unique. And that's what granted us a lot of awards. The last one was from INATBA, I think like one or 2 months ago. If we want to take a look into the financial product, what we are doing is we are giving a profitability, a 8% fixed rate profitability to our lenders. And the best thing of this is that it's safe and it's over-collateralized because of the two money flows I explained before. And the question there regarding how do we get that 8%, it's because our smallholder farmers, they need to pay a 16%. Okay, remember that they are used to pay more than 100%, so this is quite good for them. 8% goes to the investor, the lender. The other 8% goes first to the compensation system. It's the way ethics or native token can catch the value generated by the protocol, and the other 4% goes to EthicHub, the centralized company, in order to fulfill, like operational cost. And it's quite important to understand here, how do you ensure these, let's say, those money flows? Because we are operating on-chain and we are also operating off-chain, okay? When we are taking, or let's say, when we are working on the field, because we work directly with those smallholder farmers, with those cooperatives, we always say that at EthicHub, everybody can lend money, but not everyone can borrow money from us, okay? Because we work with, first of all, circles of trust. You need to have been working with someone who we know already. And after conducting an audit, what the smallholder farmers need to do is to, if they want to borrow, let's say, $100, they need to first stake 20% of that value. The auditor, in this case, can be, for example, EthicHub itself, or it can be an international NGO, as Hafer International. We recently closed a partnership with them. They also need to stake another 20%. So finally, here we have like 2 different kind of layers. The first one, it's 20% from the originator, and the other 20% is from the auditor. Those layers are the first one to be liquidated into the market in case of default. That, along with the alignment and with some help and the fact the coffee that we are financial, that makes us to have a default ratio below 1%, which actually it's extremely good because that's what makes our system safer. The other thing, it's what we call the double guarantee system. In this case, we have one real-world asset, the coffee itself, and the second one is a compensation system. EthicHub, it's not only about blockchain product, it's also commercializing coffee within more than 6 countries, I think. And last year it was like we sold around 200 tons, which allowed us at the same time to disintermediate within the supply chain. And if we take let's say, a look into our compensation system, we must say that that's capitalized thanks to the 4% of every loan, then 40% of the initial borrowers, the originators, and also the auditors, and then the other 60% is fulfilled by what we call the EthicHubbers, our community. A quick example to understand how ethics finally gets or catch the value generated. It's that what you see here at the screen, it's quite logical, 4% of every loan. So that allows us to finally implement effectively a kind of what we call a circle, a virtuous cycle, because finally we have a secure platform which allows us to lend money, which allows us to have more demand from the borrowers, which create an increase of the compensation system value, because every time that we are lending money, finally what we are doing is a buyback of ethics, which are staked at the same time within the compensation system. Finally, closing the circle. Those two people here, it's Hori and Gabriela, they are our founders. They are half Mexican, half Spanish. That's why we started working directly with coffee, because they came from coffee families. They have the know-how. And they told me 6 months ago that we had one, let's say, one goal, and was the completely decentralization of EthicHub to generate a DAO for the end of 2024. And this is quite a challenge because finally what we have to do here is to move or to change one centralized business model, the one you can see at the left, into a decentralized business model focused and built on the top of ethics, the native token. When we talk about decentralization, most of the time we need to understand that it's built thanks of a community that shares a common values. In this case, it's the ReFi values, the regenerative finance, when you take into account every stakeholder, including the social environment. It's quite important to say. But they also need to know how to interact directly with Web3 technology. And I will explain you why. Sorry, let me, oh, never mind. So, the first thing we did 6 months ago in order to start creating that DAO, or start creating the decentralization of EthicHub, was an initial context analysis to understand what was the situation. EthicHub allows people without Web3 knowledge to invest directly with fiat, thanks to the use of on-ramp, off-ramp solution, designed and implemented by the EthicHub team. And that allowed us to create a huge community of Web2 users, over 1,500 users. But if we take a look at our protocol, the Web3, we noticed that we barely had Web3 users, and that was one of our biggest challenges. So how to try to solve that kind of problems? And what we noticed was that we had a very, or a highly segmented community, because there are a lot of people who knows us because of the coffee, but not because of the financial products, or not because of the impact that we are producing. And also because we are not working well with what we call, or what we can call, Web3 marketing. And when we talk about Web3 marketing, actually I don't like the word of marketing. It seems like you are trying to sell something. I like it to call it growth. But if we take a look into this, when growth, it's much more than just, let's say, in this case, rewarding the community in order to make it large. But it also can include the liquidity mining program, the liquidity of the ethics itself, and partnerships, and even more, one more important thing, that it's metrics. It's how you are measuring everything. So regarding the community, we are so lucky because we have the Crypto Coffee in the middle of Madrid. If you come around here, please visit us. You are more than invited to take a coffee with us. Right now, we are working on expanding that community thanks to partnerships with other communities, Web3 communities, focused on Spanish speakers, in order to reach those people who already know how to work with Web3 and how to interact with that kind of protocols. We're also talking about tokenomics. It is quite important. During a lot of, this means for sure the distribution of the ethics itself. So it means to have a strong tokenomics, and also to the liquidity mining. For a lot of time, a lot of protocols, what we call a DeFi 1.0, they started with, let's say, aggressive minting of tokens, which finally produce a hyperinflationary tokens, which minimize the price or minimize the value of those tokens. That's what happened when you are rewarding the community in a very aggressive way. So what we understood was that we wanted to move from a DeFi 1.0 liquidity mining program into what we call a DeFi 2.0 liquidity mining program, which means, or which aims to create a protocol control value. What does it mean? That finally you are rewarding the community in order to get, or to get more, let's say, liquidity by itself. It can be like lending money, or it can be also liquidity for the liquidity pools. But when you are doing that and when you are rewarding the community for that, you are actually blocking that money within the protocol. That's quite important. And after all those analyses, after taking a look on chain and off-chain metrics, after taking a look on the communication, after taking a look into the current community, we finally ended up building what we call the Ethics Empowerment Program. This is, first of all, a communication strategy. This includes a lot of things, but maybe if I need to talk about there, we need to talk about the physical and digital events, and also the communication channels. In this case, we are using Telegram and Twitter, mainly. It also includes a community program, something that was not effectively implemented till now. That means to have like a network of ambassadors, as well as Web3 communities, partnerships, and a program for bounty contributors. And finally, it also includes what we call, what I was saying before, that it's a protocol control value. It's a liquidity mining program focused on create or to catch that value and block it within the protocol. So why I'm talking about this right now? Well, because for the past 6 months, we have been like cleaning everything around the EthicHub protocol. We have been swallowing. We have been building, let's say, like the pillars we want to work with. And right now, it's time for watering and finally to harvesting. But that includes every one of you. Right now, you can become an EthicHubber, and this is much important because this is an airdrop. If you scan this QR code, you will receive some ethics. I will ask you, please, that once you receive those ethics, you can stake those ethics into the protocol, into the compensation system in order to, to allow smallholder farmers to get more borrowed money. But finally, our goal for the next 6 months is to start attracting more talent just like people like you. If you feel, if you're aligned with our values, if you are aligned with verified protocols, please let us know, contact us, and I'm very sure that we will be able to build something better together. Thank you.